When you create a pivot table in Excel, Excel shows a number of pivot table elements by default. You can show, hide, or in some cases move these elements to change the pivot table configuration to your liking. For example, one element of a pivot table that's associated with the ribbon are the Options and Design contextual tabs. If you want to hide those contextual tabs, you can click any cell outside of the pivot table, and when you do, Excel takes those tabs off the ribbon. If you want to bring them back, just click any cell in the pivot table, and the contextual tabs reappear. You can also show or hide the pivot table field list task pane. So let's say, for example, that you have arranged your pivot table so that it's fairly wide. So let's say that I have company in the row labels area, and then I have year and then month in the column labels area. And that means that my pivot table is too wide to fit on the screen. If I want to hide the pivot table field list to allow more of the data to appear on the screen, then I can go into the pivot table field list and click the close button to close it and display most of the data. And if I want to display all of it, then I can just change my zoom level. To do that, you go to the View Shortcuts toolbar at the bottom right corner of the program window and click the Zoom Out button. So just click it a couple of times, and now all of your data appears on the worksheet. Now, if you want to bring the field list task pane back, you can go up to the Options contextual tab and click the Field List button. And now you can pivot your pivot table back into its original configuration. So we'll move month to the bottom of the rows area, year above it, and company over to the side, and then increase our zoom level back to 130% by clicking 5 times. If you want, you can also show and hide the expand and contract buttons, which are here to the left of each of the row labels. So here I have the year 2009, and if I want to collapse all of 2009, in other words, not display it within the worksheet, then I can click the collapse button, which looks like a minus sign, and collapse that data. If I want to expand it back out, you'll notice that the button has changed to look like a plus sign. Now it's an expand button, so I can click it and display all the data under 2009. If you want to get rid of the expand and contract buttons entirely, then on the Options contextual tab, you can click the expand and contract or the plus minus buttons button, and when you do, Excel hides them. If you want to bring them back, just click the button again, and they'll reappear. If you want, you can also hide the field headers, which are the values row labels and column labels. Those are currently in cells B3 and A4. If you want to hide that text, on the Options tab, you can click the Field Headers button, and now there's a little more room inside of your pivot table outline. If you want to bring those values back, you can just click the Field Headers button again, and they reappear. The pivot table field list task pane, the expand and contract buttons, and field headers are all useful pivot table components, but you don't have to use them. If you want to remove them from your pivot table's current view, you can do so by using the controls on the Options contextual tab on the ribbon.